Hi, everyone. This is the Leadership with the Heart podcast, and this is Heather Younger, your host. Employee experience is powered by emotions. Managers and or leaders within organizations get to choose which emotions they unleash from within the people they lead. Leaders, meaning supervisors or above an organization, drive much of the positive or negative emotions by their actions or inactions, their words, or what it is they fail to say. When a manager chooses their words and their actions carefully, they exhibit great emotional intelligence. These managers are often thought of as leaders who care, or, as I like to call them, leaders with heart. This special brand of leader drives engagement and loyalty simply by being themselves. Are these leaders perfect? Absolutely not. It is in their awareness and sharing with some of their imperfections that we realize their brilliance. In this podcast, I ask that you see yourself in the stories my guests tell about times when they were not the best versions of themselves, but how they used their hearts to guide them to a place of deeper connection with their teams and heightened leadership prowess. Before we start the show, I want to mention that we have a heart-based leadership bootcamp that we are offering, and you can check it out at customerfanatics.com/boot-camp. That's customerfanatics.com/boot-camp. Today, I am thrilled to be speaking with Trent Selbrede. He is one of my favorite people on LinkedIn and in life generally. He is an authentic leader, and I hope you really enjoy this. Hello, everybody. This is Heather Younger with the Leadership with Heart podcast. And today I have Trent Selbrede on my call, and I'm so excited to have him. The reason why I invited Trent on, I've been working, having interactions with him for, 2 to 3 years now on LinkedIn. And every time I would post things related to management or he would post something, our exchanges were just always so rich. And I could see that he had a big heart, and that's why he's on my podcast. And that he really led people to a place of empowering them and helping them grow. So welcome on the show, Trent.
Thank you for having me, Heather. It's great to finally connect.
Oh, yeah. This is great. I can't wait to one time, of course, hopefully in the near future, meet you in person. So we'll see how that goes.
It's been too long, for sure.
So tell the audience actually where you are right now in your leadership career.
Well, my first most important leadership role right now is being a husband and father. But for what we're discussing today, I'm a general manager of a Residence Inn by Marriott in San Diego. I also do a number of volunteer things. I co-chair our Marriott Business Council of about 40 Marriott and Starwood properties here in San Diego. I chair our Residence Inn Local Culture Council, which is 13, 14 Residence Inns getting together to do community service items. And then I co-chair our golf tournament, where we raise about $120,000 a year for Children's Miracle Network and our local children's hospital. So those are, while those aren't necessarily, a little bit resume items, but it's more about the community service items and serving our local network is important.
I think that's great. And see, those are things I didn't know about you. So see, look, I found out something new. I love that. It's like you're revealing more to us. This is great. And I think, again, it does show that there's depth to all of us. And you know what? The leadership side is exhibited inside of our own families first. So
you notice my day-to-day job was the shortest description there. It is great, and I love it. I'm more than that.
Yes. Yeah, you definitely are. Well, so what is it that actually motivates you to lead? I mean, you've been in a management role, a GM role for quite a while. What motivates you to lead? What is it that drives you?
Well, the personal driver is easy. It's my family, and that makes it easy to get up every morning. I would prefer to sleep in. I'm not one of those early risers, but getting up, taking care of my family is critical. Making sure my kids have everything. It's so cliche, but making sure that they have better than I had to make sure that I'm providing for them. But the other thing, as a leader, many people think I'm in the hotel business, and it's easy to say from the outside, but I think it's an important distinction that I'm in hospitality. And I don't even like to call it a business. Some people will say that's semantics, but our owners are in the hotel business. They're in it to make profit and money, but hospitality is in my blood. I like helping people. I enjoy the challenge of serving people. I have a great diverse group of associates and guests from all over the world. It's challenging because people have unique experiences and contexts from all over the world. They have different needs and wants, and no 2 days are the same, and it's really a great industry for me. And hospitality, yes, I have to do the financials and I have to do, the admin work, but hospitality is so fun and engaging. Every day is different. So That's a driver for me, because if I get bored, I get in trouble.
Oh, I love it though. I mean, I love just the way you went through that and described hospitality. It doesn't surprise me that one of your drivers is serving people, first serving your family and then serving others externally. I've always kind of known that about you, so I love that how you express that. It's awesome.
Yeah, it can be a little dangerous because you can lose yourself in that, which I've done a few times. But it's a delicate balance.
Oh gosh, that is so true. I have four children, and of course, this business and everything that's going on, and I find that often I can kind of be way up to my neck on stuff, and obviously, what ends up happening with me is it because I'm always like driving, is I find myself emptied out when I'm driving to everybody, driving literally like soccer mom driving, and everything else I'm doing, feeling like empty. So it is true. You can kind of be like, listen, that whole idea of self-care comes into this too, right? As a leader of families and of teams, we have to kind of take care of ourselves so that we can be more effective with them.
Got to put on your own oxygen mask first.
Yeah, so true. So what would you define as your leadership style with your people?
Oh, I think I listened to Andy Books that you interviewed a few weeks ago, and I don't like to define one style. I mean, it really depends on the situation. For the most part, I do try to inject fun and make sure everyone's personalities are involved in our day-to-day lives. We're not robots. We need to adapt to different situations and different guests, different coworkers. Some people love to laugh and joke. Some people, just want to come in and get the job done. So it's got to be. But for me, I'm in this. I like to have fun. I like to enjoy what I do. I like to look forward to coming in. I love the people I work with. My team is really incredible, and I feel privileged to have them on my team. So my leadership style is somewhat servant, but also it's just fun and engaging. Some people are intimidated by a title, which I still don't understand, but I try to make sure that we put the titles aside. I don't wear my name tag with my title on it. I don't ever hand out my business card if I can avoid it. It's not about titles. It's about us as people. But I do insist on personal responsibility and empowerment. If something is wrong, I hire, train, and trust my team to make sure that they make the right decisions. I have to trust them to do the things because I can't do everything at once.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I mean, fun. Wow, fun at work. Novel concept. But I think it's great that you do that, and I can see how you engage with me and others out there in the world. That you would do that with your team as well. One of the things that that hits me is, yes, we have fun, and I want to have kind of people to have individuality, but at the same time, we have things we have to meet, or deadlines, timelines, things that have to get done, and I need to hold people responsible. But again, I have this level of trust with my people.
Might as well smile while you're doing it too.
Yeah, isn't that right? There's no reason to be frowning. It just sets the whole tone for everything.
Right.
Right. So can you describe a time for the listeners? This is kind of a critical one, when you maybe weren't so fun, where you maybe weren't as trusting. Some of the things that you defined as your natural style, sometimes maybe you just went against that and you weren't your best version of you. And then what did you do to come out of that situation?
I've hit this point a couple of times in my career. When I get bored, that's when I get, as I said earlier, I get a little dangerous. I remember in early 2012, I started to feel very stale. I was bored at work. I had everything so dialed in. My team was firing on all cylinders. It was too easy, to be candid with you. I became a little short, irritable. The smallest thing, and I wasn't having fun, which is critical for me, and I wasn't challenged. So I was mentally checking out, and part of that is probably the first time I really self-identified that. Nobody said anything to me. I sat back and I had an interaction with an associate. The next day he gave me his notice, and I just thought to myself, man, I'm messed up. I'm not not unstable, but I'm messed up. I'm not being all I can be right now, and I wonder why, because I still love the business, I still love the challenge, but I didn't have enough challenges. So I never finished my bachelor's degree. I was a hotel GM at 20 years old, and school just turned me off. I didn't care about English Lit or Bio 201 or whatever the classes were. I didn't care about general ed. But in 2012, I enrolled myself in the San Diego State Hospitality Master's Program that started that summer, and I made a huge personal investment. I wasn't a traditional student, so I didn't have any financing. I didn't have any loans. I had to pay out of pocket, which was a big investment. But I also had a lot of skin in the game, so I was determined to change myself. Within a few months of the program, I really transformed. I changed a lot of perceptions. I gained a lot of self-awareness, and I really challenged myself to be a better leader, even better than I was when I was, before I was stale. So I credit the program for not being about the basics of education, but really being about me and my journey. And I had a great mentor, a guy that was the former CEO of Burger King and a VP with Pepsi, and a tremendous mentor through the program that now I go back. This program has information sessions and open houses and things to recruit people, and I show up to every one of them to help recruit students and tell them how it changed me.
Wow, what a journey!
So I completed a whole master's program without having a bachelor's.
Wow! And so, what do you think was the richest learning from all of that?
For me, I think right now it's self-awareness. It wasn't about process and procedure and financials and all of the things that people, often learn in school. It was about who am I? Why am I like this? You talk about helping define your why. I think that it really helped me figure out I need to be a better father. I need to be a better leader at work. I need to be a better husband. I need to be a better at a lot of things. And that really pushed me. The program pushed me to reflect on who I am and why I do what I do. Wow,
that's one heck of a program. I'm telling you, we might need to send more people there.
It's really a tremendous program, and it's hospitality masters. But there's been students that have been newscasters. There have been students that have been attorneys. There have been students that were athletic director at another university that have gone through this program, and it's helped a lot of people change their lives.
Again, I'm just learning so much about you. This is awesome, very rich. And it's interesting. So you mentioned this idea of self-awareness. And this is critical in the leadership space. If we are not aware of what we are feeling as far as like in that self-care space, like how are we feeling? What do we need? Are we deficient in anything? It's like you said, putting on that mask before you get to someone else. How do you actually help the people around us? How do we empower? How do we lead and guide if we aren't aware of where we sit in our own space, in our own skin, right?
Right. I think self-awareness is just such an opportunity for many of us.
So when you are, let's say, I know sometimes there's guests, lots of guests that come in. There's big conventions that are coming. There's a lot of activity, and everybody's just busy doing a lot of things. What do you do to reconnect with your people on a deeper level? It kind of just bringing it back to center and letting them know team's important.
For me, it's when I enjoy doing something, it's easy. I hate to call it a habit because that sounds like almost like a process to me. Maybe it's a habit based on desire. I don't know what the right word is, but when I enjoy doing it, when I enjoy engaging with my team, one of my favorite activities right now is I come in a half an hour before our back of the house team, our housekeepers and housemen, and I come in and I just hang out and drink coffee with them, and we talk and we laugh, and we don't talk about scores or financials, or we talk about kids and what we're doing that weekend, or biking, or we're just being people. And they've got a long day ahead of them. I've got a long day ahead of me. But I think I hate to call that a habit because it's just something I thrive on. It sets the tone for my day, and it sets a tone for their day, and again, going back to awareness, if I'm going off track, I think my self-awareness now is probably better than it's ever been. So if I'm going off track, or if I know that there's an outside influence that's going to try to derail me, I'll also tell the people around me, hey, I got a lot going on. So if I'm a prick, just yell at me. And I open that door, because I also, if something's going off track for them, I'll try to ask them about it, or I'll engage with them and try to see what's going on.
There's a few things I heard in all of that. So much of what you said is really rich. One of the things I've been finding as I speak to leaders on the show is most of them are really focusing on connecting with their people on a personal level. So they recognize the importance of spending that time, 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes with that team in the kind of non-financial, non-business, all of that sense, and just finding out more about them and seeking to understand more about them and sharing with them and being more vulnerable with them. So I appreciate that part of it. And then also the fact that when there are times, I just love this part about the self-awareness, because this is key. When you are aware that something is about to happen, an event, things are going to get crazy, and you're about to get seriously grumpy. I would not want to see a grumpy Trent, by the way. Then you tell your people, by the way, I may be a little grumpy right now, but hold me to it, call me on the carpet, do what I gotta do. And having that space where they know they are empowered to do that, because you said earlier, it's not about titles, and I don't get why people are afraid of titles. And that has so much to do with how our society just over, years and years and years and years set up this kind of employer, employee, leader, servant, that kind of thing. And so no matter how, I guess, engaged we are with them and how personal we get with them, there's still always this underlying thing that we have the power to fire them. We have the power to make their lives a living hell. And so I think that's the backdrop that you're dealing with, irrespective of how many times we sit with them for tea and we have fun. There's still that undercurrent there that makes everybody a little nervous. So the fact that you're allowing them to have that, because if they don't have the ability to come to you when you're acting kind of off, and there's fear there, they don't know what's going to happen. Are you going to write them up for insubordinate? They don't know. So you doing that allows that to happen, which I think is great.
Yeah, I think I get a lot of my influence. I watched a lot of comedy as a kid, and much of comedy comes from I would say the absurdity of real life. The observations that, oh, that's insane. Why do we do that? And I think that's I gather a lot of that. I make fun of myself when I'm making a mistake, or if I'm going off track. I don't want to call it humble, but I just kind of, I have no problem ridiculing myself when I'm doing something goofy.
I love that. I think that's important to do. We have to laugh at ourselves. I think too many of us take ourselves way too seriously. And that would be me included often when I was managing active teams. I wouldn't say often, but I definitely would be doing it. It's just one of the things I can point to. With all of this, I say this often, but it's not about perfection. Us having these conversations, I think it demonstrates that you have more self-awareness than most people do, and that self-awareness helps to drive kind of the intelligent behavior you do after that. But in the end, we all make mistakes. We all fall down. Somehow we get up. We get up in different ways. And that's the point, is that, we want to demonstrate that folks that tend to be leaders of the heart aren't necessarily people who are perfect in leadership space. They may be better than most, but we all have room to grow. And I appreciate you opening up about that.
Yeah, I literally last night on a mountain bike ride with a group of 10 of us, I tipped over and hit myself in the face with the handlebars just in a stupid spot, just right by a curb. I just fell down. I just started laughing at myself. Everyone was all concerned because that's what they're supposed to do. But it was really ridiculous and really funny. And we joked about it for 20 minutes after that. It was funny.
I think it's important, because then also too, I think when we do that, and when you do that, I think it's like we allow ourselves to the whole idea of failing. I don't even like the word of that, but when we fall down, it's not as painful because we know we're just going to laugh it off, versus go, yep, woe is me. And I'm just like,
It did hurt a little this morning, but that's just, that'll go away.
Yeah, it happened. It happened like that. So for those who are listening who might be struggling with, just being more of a leader with heart, someone who is self-aware and is like looking out for their people and connecting to their people, what would be kind of the last, bit of advice you might leave for them?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, there's not a pill or a magic pill or a book. My context is different than theirs. My advice works for me. I think what's worked for me the best is getting to the point of knowing myself, knowing why I feel the way I do, knowing that in the past I might have been unhappy because I was either comparing myself to others, because I was focusing on first world problems. The other times it's because I was bored or not having fun. Now I have the ability to identify, oh, I'm really not having fun right now, or man, I'm bored. I'm gonna go. I grew up with Legos, and I would, when I got bored with my Lego sets, I would break them and rebuild them, or break them and build something new. I try not to break anything too much now, but I will go challenge a process that kind of that's the way we've always done it. I love to challenge those items just to see what we can uncover in that. And sometimes we find out, oh, that's really important because of this, and then I understand the why behind it. But I think for me, knowing myself and knowing when I start to get off track is critical. And but for other people that may not be the trick, though. For other people, it might be being better at networking or everyone's a little bit different.
Well, I definitely can appreciate that. And, all leaders are different. All things make us tick. I mean, different things make us tick. But I think too, the importance here of being self-aware is important for every single one of us. I'm going to be honest. Usually when we are like having a hard time being that leader with heart, it's because we just, again, aren't clear about who we are in our own skin. We aren't really sure about the direction we're going, right? And so I think you kind of this baseline of how am I feeling? What is it that I want? And stop comparing and all those things. I think those are key really for all of us. We all do it at some point in our career. So I definitely appreciate that. So for those who are listening and might want to get a hold of you, just as a follow-up afterward, what's the one good way that they can get a hold of you? And then I also will give more details in the show notes as well, so you can go to my website. But just for now, what would be the best way?
LinkedIn is really the best way, and that's Trent, Selbrede, Trent Selbrede, Selbrede. It's hard to spell and hard to hear phonetically, even sometimes on the phone. So that's the best place. I do have a Twitter account, but that's mostly automated. But LinkedIn would be the best spot to reach me.
Awesome. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for being on this Leadership with Heart podcast. We're all going to take away tons of nuggets. I'm going to be listening to this over and over again and writing some key points down. And this is some critical stuff, and I just appreciate you sharing with us.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, Heather. And I think a lot of my leadership was really founded through my father. And I think finding a great mentor is another important thing people can do. So just wanted to put that last little plug in and really find somebody you trust and that you can follow, and you'll learn some great things as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. And thank you for joining the Leadership with Heart podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Leadership with Heart podcast. You can grab the show notes by visiting customerfanatics.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter.